Hey guys, so I'm gonna be voicing over a really fun match I had yesterday on Pale Rose. So I believe this is a 4-stack survive with friends, and although I did pretty well, like throughout the match, there were plenty of mistakes that I made that probably robbed me of the 4K. Like I made quite a bit of mistakes. So anyway, I put those traps there to kind of cover the pallet and this what do you call it, this pier area, because a lot of survivors like to run here. I see someone working on this gen, so naturally I go ahead and follow him because there's plenty of traps around here already. Luckily he does not have a balanced landing, so I was able to get a good first hit on him. So I just continue following him. I was a bit thrown off by the scratch marks, but whatever, I still see this guy. And because he is a David, I know he has dead hard, and I was able to get the hit on the pallet through him. So I go ahead and reset up a bit. And of course I wasn't paying attention to who was in the lobby and what items they had, so I wasn't counting on that flashlight blinds. And luckily, he didn't have time to get there, so it didn't pull it off, but that was still a big mistake on my part. But anyway, Austin could not bait me out with the dead hard, so I was able to get him, and then I was able to re-down this guy. So I'm off to a really good start here.
This is coordinated.
And yet again, I'm still not looking out for the flashlights. And as I say in the video, this is when I realize how coordinated they actually are. Which I should have taken into account later on in the game. So I see him healing, so I face the wall, stop the healing with colorophobia, and I had a really good setup right here. Very amazing start. And I don't challenge that hook because I did see the Dwight around here, so I wanted to stop him from unhooking this David. And here's where I made a mistake. I wasn't, I believe the audio is a little bit different. Either that or he had Iron Will. Anyway, he does get the flashlight blind, which was a huge mistake on my part. I should have been looking out for them because they were blinding me, attempting to blind me on pretty much every pickup. Anyway, this mistake of mine results in this very long chase with Dwight in this area with no traps. So yeah, you gotta be very careful with these flashlights. I probably would have had another hook if I had been looking for the David behind me. But it is what it is. I am not happy with this trap that I set way far away from the ship. I think it was a little bit too far away. And I missed this, even though this Dwight has dead hard, I did kind of miss an opportunity here to get a hit on him because I was too dead set on setting up traps again. I do, however, get rid of 2 pallets in this area, and I get it down by the basement. However, I do hear the David to my right. I don't know why I didn't hear him the first time when he got the successful flashlight blind on me. And here, unfortunately, my mouse wire kind of got mixed up on my table, so I wasn't able to track him properly. I still get him down, but it's still way far away from the light, and I should have had him down when he did the first 360. Anyway, 2 easy mistakes that I can make adjustments for. Be very careful with flashlight blinds. And also don't get 360s because your mouse cord gets stuck on something. Alright, so I'm still on a good footing. I make my way back over to Dwight at the boat, and then I realize they disarmed the trap at Austin's hook. Here, the smart option would have been to follow the black David and secure the kill, but I did not. I was being quite nice at this time. Which a lot of streamers don't really realize, but it is what it is. So I go ahead and I'm trying to remember what I was doing here. I might have been following the red coat David. Or I might have been just using this time to set up again. I do find these people with nurses and colorophobia though. Yeah, that's why I didn't like where I set that trap by the boat. I think it was just way too far away for it to be useful in those situations. Anyway, I get to this guy. I don't let him 360 me successfully this time. And then I'm looking for the flashlight saves. And I decide to pursue that, although here I keep making the mistake of like trying to like teleport and immediately set traps. I honestly should be just trying to get instant teleport hits at this point to knock down this David. So anyway, that chase fails and I notice this guy is here. And I go on into... Unfortunately, that trap goes away a little bit too early for me to make use of that teleport, so I could not get this guy down. I did force him to drop the pallet at least, though. And he chooses to run around this area with no traps. And the trap that I placed here at the corner of this jungle gym was just so poorly placed, like I could not really make much use out of it. So that was another poorly placed trap I had. And I noticed they had picked up someone up over here, so that's why I came back over towards this gym. And a trap happened to trigger when I downed that David, so I was able to get 2 downs right here. So if I had played this game a little bit more carefully, I probably could have killed them all quite easily. Luckily I did actually make use of that trap, so it wasn't really the worst trap in the world. It's just that I forgot that David had dead art, and I wasn't playing around it. So that's another mistake I made. And these got really coordinated, so they're picking people up like right away almost. I decided not to commit to that chase with David. I probably should have, because he was dead on hook, but I probably just didn't. Oh, I do comment that I'm looking for the Dwight on the floor. So the reason why I was running at the David but not committing was because I was looking for the Dwight on the floor. Like I said, I think the sound, they changed the sounds quite a bit. Because I know that that Black Coat David does not have Iron Will. In the earlier part of the game, I did not hear him behind me, and that resulted in a flashlight blind and things of that nature. So I challenged the generator. I do notice the trap triggering, so I go ahead and check on what's going on back here. So that trap by the boat, I did make some use out of it, but just not really enough to really value that. Luckily this guy doesn't commit to the gen. I was fairly certain that they were focusing on this gen only and not the one at the small boat, but as it turns out, the one of them was working on the little boat gen. I do play a little aggressive here. I was trying to see if the David was close enough for me to get another hit in with agitation, but that didn't happen. And like I said, I'm a little bit too committed to like teleporting and then setting another trap down immediately without checking to see how far away the person actually is. Yeah, this trap is useless where it is. Not a very good trap. Because for me to make use of it, they would have to already be injured, and I would have had to hit them like from a considerable distance away to make use of that trap. So not a very well placed one on that jungle gym. I was fairly certain they would want this generator, and I was also guarding the basement hook as well. I could have had a basement hook with that Dwight earlier in the game as well, and I kind of gave that up because there was someone else I was able to chase, which was probably yet another mistake I made in this round. And as you'll see, I have an excellent situation here. I was actually able to down this David, leaving only one guy up. And I believe this David was even death hook. But I decided not to hook this guy, which was yet another big mistake of mine, because knowing how coordinated they are, I should have known that most if not all of them would have adrenaline, and that they would decide to commit to the generator instead of like going to save the eye blend guy in the basement. And as you can see, both of my slugs get up, and I knew at that point I wouldn't be able to kill everyone. Which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Dwight kind of goes for a kind of a meme-ish play here. If he were playing a little bit more seriously, I don't believe he would have gone for this save. And it probably would have been a 1k. But they know not to mess with the hag in the basement, so he just kills himself and the other two just heal at the exit. So anyway, I made quite a few errors in judgment here, but it was still an overall really good game. I had a lot of slugs and hooks going. There were probably some slugs I should have hooked, especially at the last gen for sure. I believe Wimpage was actually on death hook, or at least second hook. I don't quite remember. Definitely a good game though. A lot of my traps were pretty solid. A couple of the placements need to be worked out a little bit better. I'm placing them a little bit too far away from pallets and structures. And I would get punished heavily for doing that in a later game that I will showcase on Blood Launch. So I had a fun game, and I even checked out their stream and they didn't think it was a fun game, but it was for me. It was my first game after a few days of not playing. I was very satisfied with my performance here.